man, great question. I am a comedian, writer. That's what people know me as. I've been doing comedy for about 12, 15 years now. But outside of that, I'm a human being. I'm a dad. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. And in that phase, I'm just like you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm doing something that I love. And outside of comedy, I'm also an educator.
Mm.
People
Nice.
don't know I've been in the board of education 19 years, so that's telling my age. I'm not old. I'm only 36, so do the math. I started young.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I've always loved and enjoyed working with kids. Also, being a parent of
Mm.
two boys, in that. So, starting in how I started in this whole entrepreneurship and became who I am today, I actually was on a date back in 2008, and I was going to a comedy show,
Mhm.
and I was like, yo, I could produce this, I could put this together. Plus I wanted to bring people together. I was working in
Yeah.
this professional field of educators, and I
Mhm.
wanted to bring the hip hop, the live music, the comedian stuff together. So from there, that's where it kind of started. Just wanting to bring people together. And when you start out doing something, sometimes you fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Or it was
Yeah.
just meant for you to start out that path. So I don't have that traditional story where I moved to New York with $3 in my pocket and
Mhm.
stayed. I'm a city worker, and I fund a lot of my own stuff, which is good and bad in a lot of ways. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But definitely the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. We got to meet through a mutual friend, Tiff, and over the years, I just feel like I've kind of seen behind the curtain. And when I say that, I've been doing it for so long, and in my opinion, that you kind of start to figure it out. And I think in anything
Yeah.
you do, it takes time, whether that's a sport, a craft. And when I say I'm starting to figure it out, how the business side works even more.
Mhm.
You know that, Rick. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be funny. We talk about it all the time, but is your business right? Like,
Mhm.
do I
Yeah.
want to be doing the bar shows and the lounges forever? You want
Yeah.
to get to that next plateau. And with the pandemic,
Yeah.
it kind of forced everyone to kind of be resetting comedy and even in music, because a lot of the,
Mhm.
the game and streaming have changed in the last 4 or 5 months. So I just feel like coming into this comedian lockout,
Yeah.
so to speak, it's
Artistic lockout.
yeah, artistically, just
Everything.
like this pandemic has forced me to just focus more on family. Not forced, it just allowed me to focus more on family. I've been putting out projects, comedy albums. I started the podcast in April.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I need to just keep doing it, in
Right.
terms of figuring things out and getting that momentum. So to answer that question, who am I? I'm starting to find out who I am now, to be
Mm.
Oh,
honest, in the
that's great.
last 2 or 3 years, and who I am as a writer, as a comedian, and how I can help others on my
Nice.
platform.
How did you start? You said you started producing it because you went on a date.
Yes.
So when did you figure out, like, wait, I'm funny, like I want to be on stage? Like where did that come?
Well, I think I was always naturally funny coming from a
Okay.
big family. We got people in my family, whether it's grandmothers, aunts, things is always being thrown around in jokes. And I got the mix of the Caribbean side and the Latino side. So like I get the both craziness. So I don't know. I mean, I was always naturally funny, like I was saying, but like to see myself doing comedy now, I don't know. I just kind of stepped into it. And again, I started hosting those shows that I was producing. And then I
Right.
found myself saying, and Rick knows, he does stand up. It's like, damn, you really got it right. You can't just be up here.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
so yeah, what's going on? Because you're doing the show for, consistent amount of time. So now I just kind of started writing, and it just, all right, put it this way. I feel like I've always had the funny. But when
Yeah.
you're talking getting on stage and presenting it to people by yourself,
Mhm.
Different
that is
story.
different. But I
Yeah.
think what prepared me was the working at the school system, talking in public
Mhm.
spaces and dealing with people, not even realizing it, but I'm kind of getting this practice and
Yeah.
this stage presence. So when I got to the stage from hosting so much, it was just a matter of marrying the content to
Yeah.
this
Okay.
this this stage presence of personality. And that's when I say, like, I'm starting to figure that out now in
Yeah.
the game.
Okay.
So
I
yeah.
think that's the old. I mean, just going through it. I always.
Hmm.
I
Experience.
didn't. It didn't click till later on when people was like, "Yo, the stage presence and the stage presence and you being naturally funny. Those are things that can't be taught. Like,
Mm-mm.
and when you have it, that is a gift
Hmm.
that it solves a lot of your worries. The next step
Yes.
now is like
You got to put in the work.
what you said is like the writing aspect.
Hmm.
Yes.
And not every no, there's different comedians out there, but I always feel like the person that puts the pen to the paper and always wants to do better, wants to
Mhm.
enhance their joke, I feel like they go further in their craft.
You're 100% right.
Because there's different types of comedians. You know, they could just do the hosting thing, or they say the same material all the time, which is fine, but
Yes.
or they stunt their growth. But
Mhm.
the writing elevates you to another level, not only for stand up, for like
For
other
other
things that
things.
you could do, you know, and
Mhm.
start realizing. And I want to touch on that. When did you, not when, because you kind of said like now things are like you're opening up to
Right, right.
now. But one thing that I admired from you and I respect from the short time that I knew you, like you put out your own albums. Like, and
Mhm.
to me, like I didn't see anything attached to that. Like it was like, oh, I was on HBO, they did this for me, or Hulu, whatever. The name was you.
You.
You did that. And
Yes.
automatically you
Mhm.
got my respect, whether if the material was good or not, right? Because I didn't see it. I want to see it and
Mhm.
I want to support it. But what immediately attracted me to that is like, oh, this guy believes in himself. This guy had a vision. And whether he had a tiny camera, he's gonna fucking do it.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I want to know why did you take that route? You know, and
Good
what
question.
motivated you to be like, well, why not me? Why can't I
Yeah,
do
you're
this?
right.
Everybody else is fucking producing stuff. So let me gamble on myself.
Great segue. So hosting and producing the live music, I always felt like I was around so many talented artists, and I would see it from producing and working with them and traveling. Like, okay, this is how you kind of put an album out. Okay, this is how you. And when I say this is how, like TuneCore, DistroKid, these are those CD Baby. These are the independent
Yeah.
platforms that allow you to distribute your music and get 100% royalties. What they don't tell you in the fine print is it's really not 100%. It's only what they can get you. So
Mhm.
that's part of it, knowing that education. But again, coming from a family of artists, my older brother's actually a hip hop artist and a producer and an educator. So I always sat back and I would be watching these artists and him like, okay, they putting out albums. So this is how they doing it. So I always had in the back of my mind as a comedian, that's our baby. We want to put out a body of work because that represents who we are. Even
Mhm.
if, like you said, even if I don't get the best reviews, for something about putting my own project out in general just felt like a graduation for me. Like, all right, now I got to do another one. So
Mhm.
the first one, Who the Fuck is Joe Hill? That came when the pandemic first started. I was in the house, locked away from the early March to April, and I was just like, damn, I got to get ahead of this virtual digital world in
Mhm.
general. So I'm sitting there and I'm in the shower, literally in the shower, and I said,
Yo, I
hold
get
up,
mad ideas in the shower. I don't know what
bad
it is.
idea, especially
The
in
I
the
the
don't,
morning.
water, man, the
yo,
water.
word.
Especially in the morning,
I don't
Barry.
know. I'm glad you said that because I'm like, I
Sir.
haven't
Yeah.
met another person. I'm like, I get like melodies in the shower. I
Because
get
your
ideas.
your mind is
Because your
going.
mind's going. Yep.
You're trying
I
to.
think it's the water cleansing you
It's,
too.
it's,
Yeah.
is that just the sound maybe? But I think
Mhm.
it's always, I mean, the males in general versus the female, we're taught to be the protectors, the
Mhm.
providers. So that's
Yeah.
how me time in the shower for
Yeah.
us in the locker room. Like, hold on,
Oh my God. Thank you.
here's
I'm glad
this.
she hears this because sometimes she like
Ah,
she
I don't
got
do it
it's killing
all
me
anymore.
out
I
not
don't
here.
do it
anymore,
anymore.
but yo,
I
she
don't
had
do it
I
anymore.
all
know
day.
my
Before.
lady.
She has
Listen,
all day to be in the shower. The
yep.
moment I go in the shower, she want to brush her teeth.
Fuck
She
him.
want to go clip her.
Fuck with
She
him.
want to clip her
That's our
nails.
space time,
And
sis.
like, and I used to be like, "Yo, get out." She was like, "It's only real quick." I'm like, "Yo,
Yes.
like she didn't." I had to explain it like she didn't get the artistic side of it for me. I was like,
Mhm.
"This
Yeah,
is
right. You didn't even say that.
no, I'm saying she didn't.
Oh,
No,
even we pray. We
yeah,
pray. Sometimes I'm
yeah,
I
praying like I
yeah,
need
do.
this
yeah,
to
I
work.
do
I'm on
yeah,
too.
my knees in the shower,
yeah,
like
I
Lord.
pray, I
yeah."
sing,
She
I
doesn't know. Yeah,
dance.
she doesn't know the other
Yes.
side of that shower,
I
what it
do
does for
that.
me. Yeah.
So in that me time, I was in there and I was saying, hold up, if these platforms is out here, I want to put out my own project. And I don't want to pay, a lot of comedians go to, no offense to this platform, I think it's called 800 Pound Gorilla, and they
Mhm.
produce all the major platform comedians albums for them. You pay them a certain amount. And I'm like, I'm not trying to pay all that when I can
Mhm.
outsource it myself. I already do my flyers, my website.
Mhm.
Why don't you just step into the mind of how it's done, produce it yourself, and see?
Right.
So I said, damn, I got all these 2 years and a half of audios in my iPhones, multiple iPhones of material.
Mm.
Let's go through here and pick out some of the early stuff that I want to put out, which still keeps me relevant with the jokes that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But then I said, and then I start getting excited. I said, wait a minute, I can do this.
Nice.
So then I'm literally in the crib, downloading, mastering, uploading, doing the cover art, and excited. Like, can't wait to
Mhm.
get this
That's
done. Like, oh,
dope.
I'm gonna drop
Mhm.
this on. I'm gonna fuck them up. I can't wait
Yeah.
to drop this. And I was asking my lady, I was like, yo, what should I do for the cover? and I got to give her credit. She was like, well, you got to put something out there that stands out. So I
Mhm.
was originally gonna go with the Bobby Brown, the one from My Prerogative
Oh
with
yeah,
with the
yeah.
great suit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was gonna
yeah.
put my neck on Bobby Brown, but then she said to me, "That's good, but that's not right away memorable."
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said Michael Jackson, and then when I saw the
Oh,
bag cover, I
Yeah.
said, "Put the Jerry curl right here."
Yeah, yeah.
So from there, it was, I ain't gonna front. It took me about 2 days to kind of master the audio, which
Mhm.
was I went to a free site. They mastered it for free to give me the basic.
dope.
I didn't have to pay all this money. I
Nice.
paid $35 on DistroKid for the year. That
Mhm.
allows you to upload as many tracks and songs and albums for the whole year. So I
Nice.
was like, okay, okay. And then I just kind of did it, put it out, and then I kind of just fell back. And now I'm thinking, like, how am I going to promote this?
Mhm.
Like, usually you got to have a budget for this. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do it the hood way.
Yeah.
Social media. I'm sending the links to people. I'm
Yep.
reposting the post. Go download this, and it be created a buzz and an
Yeah.
excitement off of my own project. And
Yep.
little behold, I just checked it again. We up to 10,000 streams on the first one.
Nice.
Look at
Um,
that.
who the F is Joe? And again, self-made. So like you said, Rick, it was
Congrats.
exhilarating is the
Yeah.
word. I'm gonna use the SAT word, like exhilarating, to put something out.
I'm gonna skip that
and
question.
and you know us, we artists, like Erica Badu said, we sensitive about our shit. So
Mhm.
I just wanted it to go out, and that's how I got. And then the second one, it was just a follow up. It was like, all right, you did an hour in DC, you sitting on this hour. You couldn't do my special in March because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Let's just drop the official album in Chocolate City.
Mhm.
And it was the perfect timing with everything we going on and dealing
Nice.
with. So
That's
yeah,
great. That's
on
very
Black Labor
great.
Day, I call it Black Labor
Mm.
Day. Nah, I don't call it Labor Day now because we put in the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our people put
Word.
in the work. So
Word.
so
Um.
that's how that came about,
Wow, that's beautiful to hear that.
Appreciate it.
And it's so motivational and
Mhm.
that you just believed in yourself and you used that time. You weren't just sitting back like, oh, I got a pandemic. It's you just like, okay, what am I gonna do with it?
Time flew by.
And you
Lonely
didn't wait
nights.
for anyone. You did it.
Exactly.
You had the
Yeah.
Yep.
material and
But I love
that's
hearing
dope.
those stories because
Yeah.
I relate to it so much because I,
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't I didn't wait on anyone. I was just
Mhm.
like, well, how they did it? How can I do it? And I ask questions. Like, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
why
Mhm.
always.
I'm humble enough to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, of
Yep.
course, in the beginning, like everyone has this thing, and it's natural as an artist. Like, well, how come this person got this, or how come that person got that? And it's not coming
Yeah.
from a point of like that you hating on them. It's just like,
You're just
man,
curious.
you're curious,
Yeah.
and you're like, you want to be in that position, right?
Hmm.
Exactly.
And by killing that, I said, let me ask the questions. Maybe they're willing to help and give me information. And I always been a person of like, this is how I did it. Here's all the information. Now, what you're gonna do with it,
It's
that's up to you.
difficult.
Exactly.
That's you got to put the
Gotta
work
share
in. You know what I'm
information.
saying?
That's something we don't do enough in the
Hmm.
community. And I don't mean to cut you off. I just feel like
Yeah,
I do a lot of comedy shows, and when I go to the urban shows, I see the unity. But when I go to like a Caucasian, a
yeah,
white show, and I'm just like, damn, they've been running 5 shows here on the roof. Didn't don't need a permit. They got the food. Why can't we come
yeah,
together
yeah,
like that? So I
yeah.
feel you.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. We spoke about it in a podcast with a couple other like
Hmm.
Latino creators and stuff like that, and I shared my experience with that. I said like I feel like we're not so unified. We're unified when it benefits us. Like
Yeah.
okay,
For
Yes.
opportunity.
I'm a help him
When you're
because
being
down the
opportunist.
road he's gonna help me, or there's
Hmm.
something in here for
That's a
me
fact.
too
That's
as
a fact.
well. And I feel like there shouldn't that place shouldn't be there all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if I'm helping you, I was like, I know that like, all right, eventually Joe's gonna throw me a bone, right?
Right.
But that's the
That's the
only reason
intention.
why I'm
Yeah.
helping him all the time. You know
No,
what I'm
you're right.
saying? And I feel like when I was in, other communities of, white people, UCB, their foundation was, and from
Oh,
what
so
I saw,
you
yeah,
know
their
already.
foundation was built on let's help each other. And there was more of a unity. And yes, of course, everybody has some type of jealousy, but
Right.
I didn't see a lot of that. And I've
They
been
want
around,
to get this. They want to get this bag together.
right.
For real.
Yeah. Cause I know down the road, Charles will
Right.
probably throw me a bone, but you know what? Just for the moment, let's have fun and let's create this because we're
Exactly.
learning something about this.
Hmm.
So I
Good
want to
point.
know too, during this pandemic, was very interesting. And I'm a sucker for deep conversation
Of
and
course. Let's get it.
the psychic of the artist, because I always like to push my limits too when it comes to that. You
Mm-hmm.
say you're starting to find yourself now and get more comfortable with yourself. I want to know, um what did you learn about yourself with the writing? Because now I
Mm.
feel like, I think you hit that moment because
Mhm.
one, you're by yourself in your thoughts and you're reflecting, but at the same time, maybe your writing started to change now of like how I'm going to bring this on stage, or maybe I'll
Right.
just write this to myself and eventually find it funny. So how did the writing help you during this phase now to like start going deeper rather than the surface?
I think in comedy, that's the thing we're doing first. We're trying to find ourselves, and we don't realize we're taking from our favorites. We're taking from things we've seen in comedy because comedy is so. How can I say this? Um, it's like a lot of parallel thinking that happens a lot. I'll hear something. I'm like, where did I hear that from? That could be from Mike Epps, but I noticed some familiarity to it. So I just feel like what I realized about myself is you gotta stick to what your strengths are. That's in anything you do. And then you gotta develop those weaknesses. The strengths were there in terms of talking about my life, talking about relationships, talking about my kids, talking about observational things. But then it was like people are doing that. So then I start saying to myself, if you're gonna tell your story, how is it gonna be different from somebody else's? And I think that's the unique part about it, finding out that relative comedy is always, to me,
Yeah.
relative comedy. Once you got the people relating, they trust you right
Yeah.
away. Once you get them relating and you say some shit that they click with, oh yeah, I fucks with this person. Let me pay
Yeah.
attention. So I think being from New York, one of my strengths, and without really telling it all, I always go into a show like, okay, I need to get there early. I need to feel the room. I need to see what the vibe is like. I may want to watch 2 or 3 comedians because that's gonna help me adapt. And maybe some I didn't realize. And it's gonna
Mhm.
help me because, to be honest, the crowd doesn't know the script of how tonight's supposed to go. Only I do.
Right.
Now I'm trying to get the best laughs, period. There's no manual really in comedy. If you get them laughs, however you get them laughs, that's it. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So I
Right.
find with my writing and the style coming from New York, I just got to live in that. I can't shy away from it. You know,
Right.
when you're on stage in those moments, dig a little deeper, stay on it. If you get them laugh, pull the curtain back even more for them to laugh. I was in
Right.
Atlanta. Um, we did 4 shows at the Uptown Comedy Corner, my team and I, 4 sellout shows. Amazing job from start to finish. But I realized something in the last night. I hosted the first night. I just featured the last 3 shows, but I noticed something about that last night. That last night was like, this is game 7. This
Mhm.
is packed. We oversold tickets. It was overly packed. You got to remind even your team and yourself why you're on this team and why you come to Atlanta. So that
Mhm.
set in general, in the last night of the show, that last show, it was just take the chains off and we're
Right.
going to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like, you find those nights in comedy where you grow right on stage and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Even in, like, we watch sports, you
Yeah.
see some games, you be like, oh, he's growing
Yeah.
right in front of our eyes right now. Like,
Mhm.
he's coming
Mm.
into his own. So I feel like the pandemic has helped me focus more on the little things about my game. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? My left hand was weak in comedy. Now I get
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
focus on my dribbling and I can focus on my court. So I just think I found what I'm good at and I can focus more in on just that. And
Mhm.
it's been great. You know what I'm saying? Comedy has been, I mean, it's one of the jobs where I get to make people laugh and entertain them in different cities and like get paid for it. Like,
Yeah.
that beats the Board of Ed, and I've been working there almost 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I love kids, but like
Fuck the kids. Give me the
I'm
Yeah,
jokes.
overworking the kids. Like, you know, I got enough of my own right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Word.
Now, how did the teaching help you dealing with kids help you in your life and also
Oh,
With
and
comedy
your
too.
comedy? Like, what did you learn from these kids that subconsciously you didn't know that actually helped you on stage or just in
yeah.
your life and your turmoil that you was going through challenges and stuff like that?
I think definitely coming from a family, my mother was a social worker.
Okay.
And I'm talking BCW before New York
Mm.
City. They changed it to ACS when they was
Mhm.
Yeah.
BCW.
Word.
So my mom coming from the background of helping children, and even when we moved upstate to Rockland, because I was born in the Bronx, but we lived up in Rockland '98 to about 2005. And my mother,
Mhm.
after she stopped working, we had a few family members that we adopted and kind of lived with us. So seeing that and like, hold on, this is what I've been doing, and then going to college and summer camps and doing all that, I said, you know what, working with kids is something that has been in my bloodline. Let me do that. So going into the city and the Board of Ed and doing that, I just learned that yo, it's a lot of kids out here that really, really
Mm.
enjoy being around us all damn day long. When I say that, they be with us, and when I say that, they be with us more than their parents and
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
their families. And it's like it's an outlet to work with kids. And
Yeah.
then tying in the age, I started in my early 20s. I can relate more to the high school kids. I can kind of,
Definitely,
I
yeah.
can be like that uncle, older brother. And then the further I got in, I'm teaching them things that I wish I knew now. So those kids that that you be like, yo, like I'm telling you, like I was there. Like I'm only in my 30s. I was not too far. So like
Mm.
just lending the that gift of love and light to these kids at an early age, and it being in the Lower East Side. I'm in the
Yeah.
Lower
Oh,
East Side,
yeah.
Avenue A, B, D, C,
Mm.
with the hood. All the
Yeah.
Yeah.
projects come into my community school, and it's like I found a lot of about myself, working with these kids, and then with the comedy. You know how it is. They try to test you. Mr.
Yeah.
Hill, this. Oh, really? I don't know. I do comedy. Oh, chill,
Mm.
chill. I ain't messing with you today. So like you work on material and you kind of polish a lot of your speaking just from
Nice.
the kids trying to test you all day. So you work
Mhm.
on that quick wit
That's
at working
great.
with kids.
Yeah.
Mm.
What did comedy and teaching bring you that
Ooh.
you didn't know about yourself?
Well, those that know me know that I'm come from a single mother household, 3 boys.
Mhm.
I'm the middle. Our fathers weren't involved so much in our early lives, even in our later life. My oldest brother's father, he was more of like, you know, like came more into our life in our late 20s and became that father figure. But tying that into working with kids, it kind of filled the void.
Mm.
In essence, looking back on it, I'm being a father to all these kids
Right.
by showing up every day. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like literally, I'm talking at 19, 20 years old, I got a city job. I'm hyped to get up. I'm getting there early, 6:30. You know what I'm saying? No, but wanting to give the love effortlessly. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that there's so many people in this New York City public school system that really put on for these kids and make sure that yo, I'm here for you. Just being
Yeah.
Mhm.
present, you know what I'm saying? And being that voice for them, man. And I just feel like it was dope for me. But yeah, it was something I felt
Mm.
like filling the void of not having my father there, being a father to all these kids for almost over
Mm.
a decade. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
Did that
Y No, go ahead, go ahead.
did that eventually, did you find a way to heal from that with your own void that you missed out? I know you was being a father figure to your own
hmm
kids and also to the kids in the public system and the school
hmm
system. And I know it's a both way, what's that called?
Give and take.
It's not a give and take,
it
but you
is.
guys both learning from each other and
Mm.
giving to each other as well.
Exactly. You're
Um,
right.
but when you take yourself away from that situation and you're no longer there, did you find a way to make amends with that relationship with your dad and heal that void? And the reason why I
Yes.
asked that because I mentioned that in the shows that I have written about this relationship that I had with my dad, and it took years for me to forgive myself for all the hate and
Mm,
anger that I had against him, through
yeah.
my spiritual teacher and learning from her. I and then, I want to know, were you
What was
able to
that like for
heal
you?
once you
Well,
filled those
y'all gonna
voids
get a
for
good
everybody else? Yeah, were
I
you able
definitely
to?
did. So I started at 19 as a schooler. I worked my way up over my decade there. But at 23, my son was born. He's 11 now. He'll be 12 in May. And right around that time, quick story, I remember having a dream that I was
Mm,
getting on the 6th train going to Parkchester, and I was
mm,
and then my phone rang. This is a true story. I told this on my
Mm,
podcast. That's why this is about to go deep. And I answered the phone, and in my dream, it's myself talking to myself. And I'm like, this is
mm,
weird. Why do I
dope.
sound like yeah, I'm outside your crib. This your pops. And I'm like, what? So in my dream, I get off the 6th train, I walk down White Plains Road, and I get to my crib, and then I wake up. So I wake up out my dream. I'm like, damn, that shit felt too real. You know how the
yeah.
dreams, that's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Mm,
I go to work, I tell the parent coordinator. She like, yo, that's crazy. You should find him. I'm like, no, he
mm.
should be finding me because the pride kicked in. Like I ain't
Yeah,
doing
Yeah.
all
yeah, of
that shit.
course, of course.
He's like, no, 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 no. I got a site. I'll just help somebody. I'm gonna look it up. We looked up his last name, and the way the sites work, they give you the first name and the last name and the city and states where they used to live at, depending on the year. So I'm
Mhm.
Mm,
like, this shit is detailed. Like they
Yeah.
tell you the address. So she's
mhm.
like, I found one, Joseph E. Donaldson, because my name is Joseph Hill. That's my mother's maiden name, but his last name is Donaldson. And she was like, I found one. and it's only one. The rest of them don't have a number. This one has a number. So I'm like, first of all, you getting me spooked out now. Like, she's like, no, you should call it. Fuck that, Latina. Fuck that. So I'm like, all right, I go in my office. She convinced me all day. I said, I'm gonna do this shit. I call this this number, and I'm like nervous. The voicemail comes on, and then when the voicemail came on, I heard the same voice that I heard in my dream. It was very much like myself. Like, this is Joe, leave your name. And I was like, whoa. So when the beat came, I was like, hey, disclaimer, I'm looking for my pops, just to sum it up to y'all. Like, I don't want to call some shit in y'all house, but I found this number, and if this is you, give me a call back. So I hang up. She like, yeah, don't worry about it. I think that's him. The information lined up. So I'm thinking about the shit. I'm going home, thinking about the shit. At the time, I was living with my brother and our friend from college. And I'm like, yo, let me ask y'all a question. Like, if you call people and leave a message, how soon after do you follow up?
Yeah.
Said, yeah, don't worry about it. He'll call back. Don't worry about it. And, I'm impatient. We from the Bronx.
Yeah. I can relate.
I go in the room because I got a weird, eerie feeling. I go back in the room, call the number back. Check this shit out. A female picks up. I get nervous and hang up the phone, y'all. Like, oh, this is really happening. So again, I call the number back. I'm like, hi, I called earlier. I'm looking for Joseph E. Donaldson. And I apologize if this is not him. I'm just looking for my biological father. She goes, hold on. Now, in this moment, I'm like, oh God, the runaround. Is him?
Yeah.
I think I'm wasting my time. I feel like I'm looking stupid. You know what I'm saying?
You hear him in the background. I ain't picking up no goddamn phone. Hang up that shit.
Voice comes on the phone, real humble. Hello. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? Again, I'm not sure if this is you. I'm calling so and so and so. It gets quiet again, and he goes, yeah, this is me.
Oh, gotcha.
And I said, time out. First thing I said back, so nigga, you wasn't gonna call me back? Because the hook in the whole. And he goes, it's not that. He goes, I came in the house. My wife, his wife was like, I need you to hear something. At the time, he's telling me that his sister was sick in the hospital, and he thought it was his sister. So he goes in, and he goes, the minute I heard your voice, I knew exactly who you were. I was just figuring out how, to approach the situation. I respect that. Yeah. So fast forward in the story, that was a crazy moment. The void got filled by destiny. We met after that. We hung out a few times. I mean, he fell back into the statistic. But I think it was closure for me.
Yeah.
My
absolutely.
Definitely.
My son was in the womb, and I invited him to the baby shower. He didn't show. It was one of them things where, and my mom, it's funny because after I got off the phone with him, I called her.
I was going to ask you to your mom.
I'm crying like a motherfucker. Listen, Rick, I'm crying, bawling. And she's like, why the fuck are you crying for? I'm not crying because I'm happy. I'm just crying because this is over. Like, I've been dealing with this since I was 16, not knowing. And I was like, she goes, I understand that. Yeah. But it was a moment I just was wondering.
Call him back, and I said, fuck you, motherfucker.
Here's the crazy part. We worked next to each other. When I worked in the Lower East Side for 10 years, he worked at AIG.
Wow. It just wasn't meant.
Yeah, because you could have bumped into each other.
Train. He take the E train.
Look at that.
Comes in from Connecticut. He jumps on the E train, goes downtown. So when he said that and we met him, I was like, damn, we worked like literally 10 minutes from each other without even really knowing that. Like, wow. And that's God. So I'm happy, but it's just one of them things. The void definitely got filled through working at that school and just kind of, I guess the universe was just like, no,
it was dream, man.
It was just
your
more
son,
for you, man.
Yeah.
That exactly. I relate, man. Like, I don't want to go to big details, but I have a very similar story of trying to find my dad, and not knowing where he was at after he left, 13, 14 years old. But it wasn't so much about me trying to solve a relationship. It was just like, listen, I just want to, talk to you, say that I forgive myself. I forgive you, even though you have to.
That's what
yourself.
I said.
You have to forgive yourself. But I just want to close this up and be like, yo, if you want to hang out, we can hang out. But if not, it's cool. This is for me.
Right. We getting a fresh start.
Exactly. I just want to
ask you this then. I got to ask you this. As a kid, I thought this. You think like, damn, your pops don't love you. What's going on? You hearing the stories from your mom.
Yeah.
What was being a teenager like for you on Father's Day when you go over your boy's crib and you got that connection with his pops,
Yeah,
and you think,
yeah.
like, what was that for you? Because that was killing me, low key.
Man,
That's
it was I was very angry at that at times. I'm not gonna There was a mixture of things, right? So I was
Right.
very angry at that. I did feel an eternal sadness of that when Father's Day would come up, or even like I would go upstairs to my best friend's house and his father was there. And, you know, they will get into it. He loved his dad, but but at the end of the day, his dad was there. You know, no matter like if he was lazy, didn't want to do
He
anything,
was
or
present.
you know, he was there. You can still go like, yo, dad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that. You know, he was back and forth, and then he finally left like I was 14. So, you know, I had a big void and sadness and anger to that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not gonna lie. I think also sometimes, you know, it'll creep in every now and then. Like if I see, you know, if I have a moment, or if I see certain things like a father and a son together, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's real.
I'm being honest. I think no matter how many times I try to heal it fully, it's not gonna be fully healed,
yeah.
right? You know, but the difference is that hole that I once put soil over it, the soil that I put on top of it was anger, sadness, you
Resentment,
know,
all that.
resentment.
And not even knowing the whole story. Like we weren't
Right.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to unclog that hole and put
Facts.
forgiveness, hope, and that it's okay, you know,
Mhm.
and that I'll move forward. So, but another thing that actually helped me too was that like teachers, male teachers like yourself, I had them in my school that like, yo, you playing guitar? All right, let
Yeah.
me teach you.
Mhm.
You know, I had other male positive role models
Yeah.
that did his job in certain
Right.
aspects, playing catch, you know, supporting me in certain things. So I
Mhm.
had that, but I couldn't really call. I think it was something always bothered me. I couldn't really call someone like father. I mean it.
Right.
This guy is my dad, and I love this guy. And I don't think I'm never gonna have that in this lifetime, right? I could be
Right.
that to my child, but I'm never. It just wasn't meant to have that in this lifetime, and that's
And it's
okay.
okay.
And
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's okay because I was
You
blessed
got
with so many
uncles,
other
you got
things.
abuelos,
Right,
you got
right.
men in your family.
Yeah,
And now you both fathers,
yeah,
so
yeah. So absolutely. So I definitely had to go through that whole
Of course.
journey, you
Yeah.
know, and then realize, all right, cool. Like the little sadness that I feel every now and then is not what I
Yep.
used to feel back in the days. That's just
Mhm.
normal. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like if you have your, I don't know, it's
You're right.
like is there anybody that you missed? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? A family member that you like and they passed away.
That's
You
true.
still gonna
That's true.
have that void, like, man, my uncle, I miss him, you know what I'm saying? Or a
Definitely.
friend, or even a
Yeah.
baseball hat that you love. Eventually you lost the baseball hat. And you're like thinking about like, damn, this was perfect to wear this baseball hat to this game, but I
Right.
lost
From
it.
the Sandlot. I had it since the Sandlot movie.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, man, thank you for sharing that because like
That was a
that
beautiful
was a
story.
beautiful story that I can relate 100%. And it was
Yeah.
very similar to
And many
my dad.
people will.
You know, I want to know now that you move forward, you
Yeah.
know, with that, do you because whenever I hear something like that, like if
Mhm.
with other artists, I'm like, you got to tell that on stage.
Oh
Like
my God.
you got to share
You
it, right?
definitely.
And like
It's
a
finding a
lot
way
of
to make
and a
that
lot
funny.
of them,
That's
yeah,
really all it is.
and a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, but someone that will say, I don't think nobody want to hear this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, it can be done. Yes, I understand you only have 15 minutes, but
Right.
you can do it. This
No,
is
it's possible. No,
this
you
is
got to
not
think of it.
yeah, this is not only healing for yourself, but you also making other people laugh to your
Yeah.
story, but
Yes.
also like teaching them like, damn, Joe went out there and fucking went to look for his dad. I should look for my dad. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's a positive
Fine.
thing. You know, and
Mhm.
those are the moments for me when I watch stand up or something like that I'm looking for. I'm looking
Yeah.
for the truth and
And the
the
vulnerability
vulnerability that I know it hurts
within
to
the
tell
comedy.
this.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
for instance, you already had it. You explained the story, you summed it up, and then you know you talked about you made it funny with your mom explaining that. And
Mhm.
oh no, and then when you said I was like, nigga, you gonna wait this long to call? You was gonna call me back? Like
That's great.
that was perfect.
Back, nigga, like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, right.
That's real. That's
And
real.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, but like you from what I hear from you, you have the storytelling style that you
Mhm.
can incorporate. I don't know if you have been doing this. Correct me if I'm wrong. That
You're
you
right.
can incorporate even more uh, tragic moments of your life and put it
Yes.
on that stage
Make
and
light of
make
Yeah.
light of it
That's what we do.
because Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
We got some. We've been through. Every comedian has been through some shit. We are
Yeah.
able to bear that pain, forget about it, and make you laugh and forget about yours. And be like, then
yeah,
we come off stage, and then we still got it. So like in a lot of ways, comedy is healing for us, relating
yeah,
to y'all,
Definitely.
listening
yeah.
and watching.
I
Mhm.
always say that, man. Like
It
I
is.
I get when when we're I think we're more open, so we feel more things faster, or
I'm gonna
we
tell that
feel it.
on stage, Rick. Now you got
Yeah,
me.
you
And
You
listen,
should,
should.
when you hear it or see it, you
you
just know where it
should,
came.
you
You
should.
inspired me to tell it. It's
No,
just
absolutely.
getting it ready for the stage and making those funny parts funnier.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna do it on my next
Yeah,
time we
no,
get
you
out.
got it, bro.
You
You could be like,
definitely
listen,
can.
man, like, you could just talk about having my. Do you? You said they had to sit up there. Just having a son changed me, and I was like, but
Right.
I wanted to change something for myself too. I went to go
Yeah.
look for my dad, and I haven't seen him
Mhm.
in so long. You know what I'm saying? And you got the Boricua character there.
Definitely.
You got the Boricua. You
That
can enhance
lady.
that more. You could be like, no, fuck out of here. You better call him. You know what I'm saying?
You better
Like
call
you,
him.
yeah,
Big Rock.
yeah. You could enhance that, and then you got it. You
Find
already
ways
know.
to add the funny. But I'm definitely gonna do it
Yeah.
because I think you would definitely inspire me to be more vulnerable, and I think that's dope. I appreciate that.
Yo,
Just
you,
talking
yeah.
about it, I should be doing it. You're right.
You should. I
Mhm.
think every artist should. I know every artist is.
Comedians
Every
too.
comedian is different. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
You got the one-liners. You got
but they should.
But I always feel like this is what I feel deeply. I feel like we came down with these gifts, right? And yeah, I feel like we always say we're here to make the people laugh. I think
Yep.
that's just one aspect of it, right? Because before we was making them laugh, we made ourselves laugh. You know what I'm saying? We was watching comedy, we laughed at it, and we
Yep.
related to it because we was also were making it. We felt okay to laugh at ourselves.
Right.
And I feel like we should use this not only to make other people laugh, but also to heal ourselves. Because
Facts.
when we heal ourselves and make ourselves laugh, then we're doing the same subconsciously, we're doing the same for the other people.
Right.
Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. How many times people said,
You're
"Man, you
right.
was funny. I needed this. I needed this." Right? Before they said I needed this, you needed this. So you did that for yourself first. And I
Facts.
just have this issue of like when people say, "Nah, I do it for them. I do it for them." No, you do this for you. And I learned this
You
from my
take care
spiritual
of
teacher. But at the end of the day, it's true. I'm
Mhm.
not fucking getting up to like I gotta make 50 people laugh today. No, fuck
That's a
y'all. Like
fact.
I love
100%.
y'all,
You're right.
but
100%.
I love this. I love doing this. So this gives me a
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah. It's true.
But like, sometimes we just brush it off
It
like,
does.
I do it for them. I'm like, no, you do this for you. Because how many I can tell
Listen,
you right now,
Denzel
there's one person in the
Washington
crowd,
said,
and you'll be like, I don't want to go out now. There's only one person out there. you
but
know?
it's true though. We don't want to make it seem selfish, but we get satisfaction out of making someone else laugh. That is
Mhm.
selfish. When you
Mhm.
really think about it, that's a
Yeah.
selfish act, but we do it in a way that's so creative and passionate
Yeah.
and relatable that you don't really see it that way. But
Yeah.
we're really
Mhm.
doing a selfish thing by we're trying to get you to laugh for
Yeah.
our ego
Yo,
and
I
our
tell you this, if you can make someone laugh at your pain by being vulnerable,
oh yeah,
that pushes your
yeah,
writing
yeah,
because you're taking something that is so riskful and so dark that it hurts you. And before you made
facts.
this shit funny, you fucking cried.
Yeah.
Now you're using your brain and your gift to be like, now where's the funny here?
Mhm.
And it comes out naturally. That's
Yeah.
pushing your writing. I'm sorry, because if you just go up there and be like, I'm gonna talk about my dad and how I took a while to find him, and everybody's like, oh boy, there's one of these stories. But if you did that and like how
Yeah,
you just did it for us
Yeah.
now, oh my God, it's powerful, bro. You're
got
gonna
you.
touch yourself and many more
let
people.
me find out. Let me find out. Rick trying to co-produce the next album.
Bro,
Hey.
I'm a sucker.
Dude.
She could tell you I'm a sucker of breaking shit down and be like,
I
how did
appreciate you. homie.
how
You
does
know
this
that.
make you feel? What do you feel? Because I do that to myself in my writing. When
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going around the curve, how did you feel? Stop being a bitch. Nigga,
You
this
know
shit
what's funny
hurts.
though? And you do stand-up comedy and being in a relationship.
Mm.
And what's interestingly enough, my lady is from Oakland, California, right?
Mm.
Born and raised. She lives in New York. That's how we met. Me being a Bronx native, and we're both cancers. Our birthdays are 11, 12 days apart. I'm the 5th. She's the 17th. So it's like we're right on the head. It's like I'm with myself a lot of times. I'm being honest. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
That is
Same.
with us too.
and you're gonna laugh at this, sis. You're gonna laugh at this. Rick, you ever try to go get your significant other or your lady, you like, yeah, I want to run this joke by you. And I hit her with the shit. And in my head, in my
Mhm.
pad, this is fire. This
Mhm.
joke is going to hit. People looking at me like, nah. And I'm like, but the part that I just said, you wasn't laughing at that. And she's like, and I'm like, see, that's why I can't tell you jokes because that's supposed
Yo,
to be funny.
yeah.
I can't talk to you no more.
I can
But
relate. There's been a couple times, and I
she'll
feel
tell
like
me
I'm,
some shit is not
yeah,
funny, sis, and I'll be
yeah.
like, really?
There's a
Hurt my
couple,
heart.
yeah. There's a couple times I ran certain things, and I'm not
He
getting the
doesn't tell me.
reaction.
Yeah, he
I
doesn't
don't
tell me
get
when
the
he's
I don't
that's
get
the
the
purpose.
reaction that I want, and I just tell myself like, one, you did, like, she's expecting a show, one, like, to perform
Yes,
it,
that's
and
her.
I'm like,
Okay,
I didn't really perform it that way,
Mhm.
but I'm like, it's just the idea, and then two, I think sometimes, like, I realize is like people don't see what I see in my brain, so
That's
like,
what I do. Yep.
I know that how it will work, right? Because then
Yeah.
now once I start over explaining it to her, she just look at me like, yeah, I kind of see that. But I already heard the laugh. Because I already saw myself on the stage doing it. Not to
Yep.
say I could predict every laugh. I
You
can't. But I
just
know
see
this.
yourself
Yeah.
projecting it. Like, yeah.
Yes.
He'll hit me
Yeah.
with the, well, if you're trying to get them to laugh, I'd be like, so that's not funny then. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll get into it.
Thank
And then
you.
I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
storm out and go in the kitchen. I'm going. It's not working. for
Yeah,
you.
but people like us, sometimes we just have to realize, like, there's only certain people we can run stuff by because they get it, because
Yes.
they know us, and if we're just explaining it like super dull, they're like, that's funny. Like
That's the
they,
thing to
they
get-
don't need
Ah,
they
okay.
don't need to see us
So
actually
you want to change the
performing.
baby? You like, really? That didn't get you the tickle? Okay. Damn.
So Joe,
yeah.
how where do you want to go now? What is
The next step.
what is the next steps for you as an artist, as a father, as a human being,
As a teacher.
as a teacher, that you want to leave a legacy behind? What is the next steps for you, that you want, certain things you want to improve on, and things you want to go after? Doesn't have to tell me like the biggest dream, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the motivation to keep going, and the list legacy that you want to leave behind, and what do you want to learn next?
I think the biggest thing I want to focus on outside of my own making people laugh and making this a household name.
Mm.
I already have a podcast, I have a live music production, I have a comedy production. I want to definitely start producing and helping other comedians. I think that's something we don't do enough. And I know people focus on your career, but I get a kick out of creating and helping others. Like there's
Right.
something back to the selfish act.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something that burns inside of me, helping others and working with people and sharing information.
Yeah.
Whether it's a call, I want to book you for a show. I get excited to help somebody. I don't know. I can't explain it. I
Yeah.
just enjoy thoroughly helping people and helping them. So for me, as I navigate through this, kind of like how Kevin Hart does it, bringing
Mhm.
people up while he's still moving. I want to still do my stand up, but I want to create an avenue and pave the way for other entrepreneurs to do their
Mm.
own and do, like, we don't got to be like big celebrities to teach people other stuff.
Yeah.
No,
I wanna
yeah.
be Oprah to have a master class. I
Yeah.
got results. I've been on the road. I've done
Mhm.
shows. I've
Mhm.
fronted my own budgets with my team. So I want to get into creating my own master class for our people. You know what I'm saying? How to
Nice.
produce events, how to be an entrepreneur, how to craft your brand, how to connect.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is just will. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
Mhm.
there's no manual on how to network, but it's
Nope.
just
Mhm.
the gift of gab goes a long way. It can't be taught. But
Mhm.
if you want to learn and how to like connect yourself, relationships is everything. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's where
Yeah.
everything roots and comes from. So like, help others, because I think I thoroughly enjoy doing it. That's God's work, and you'll
Mhm.
never go wrong outside
Yeah.
of helping others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So continue to make people laugh, help others produce more comedy.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to help the female voice in comedy. I feel like they get pushed to the side a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
You always see 6 dudes on the show, 1 female. I
Mhm.
low key want to start an all women's comedy group and just
That's
produce,
dope.
maybe host it, but
Yeah.
let them do their thing and find 4 women that believe in what I'm trying to do, is like
Yeah.
they're kind of get it to where I'm at. But yeah, just
Mhm.
push the culture forward. Basically, I want to push the culture forward. I got a comedy Christmas album coming out.
Yes.
Nice.
I saw a mention of that. I want to go and
Jingles,
talk
jokes,
more.
and hoes. I
Yeah.
sold jokes and hoes. The Step Brothers.
Nice.
But I sat back when I listened to the mixtape with the voices, the characters, separate from the album, because if you listen to the album, it's a full hour of the same set.
Yeah.
But in the mixtape, it allows me to be creative. And I said, if I could pay $35 for the year, I should be putting out a Christmas album.
Yeah.
But I want to take it back to the Beastie Boys, the Adam
Wow.
Sandlers, the Weird Al Yankovic. I want to do pranks. I want to do Christmas jingles. I want to do voices. You might not even get a stand-up set about Christmas, but I'm going to have fun. I'm going to show my versatility, and I'm looking forward to that next phase of, mastering things that I should be working on in comedy.
I think that's great because, it just shows you that it can be done. And and a lot of it is jumping and going for it, and you learn as you go. The trials, the tribulations. Of course, you're going to have fear, but that's not going to stop you. There's a lot of things that I learned along the way, producing my own stuff, writing and stuff like that. But you learn as you go, and there's so much to learn as you continue to go. And I think that's very inspiring because it also shows other people that like, yo, if Joe can do it, I can do it. Let me ask these questions. And that's great that you want to help other people because, it just shows too that like, I feel like not everyone can be what you're doing, right? Like some people are just good at just comedy, but they don't know the business side of it. They don't know the producing side of it, and on the promoting side of it, and that's fine, right? Because maybe they don't want to learn it, or that's not their strength. I feel like we was like, well, why not? Let me build those strengths up. Let me try to learn those things because at the end of the day, no, I don't have HBO promoting me. I don't have a rotation of commercials pumping myself. It's all me and whoever wants to share it. And I can't even rely on those people that wants to share it. It has to come from me. You know, do you want 5 people at your show or do you want 50 people on your show? So you go get the 50 people at your show and earn it. A sold out show just doesn't happen like that. You have to go after
put
it,
in the work,
and people don't. And I think that's great because a lot of people don't see that. They just see the post sold out Atlanta, great 4 shows, we killed it, but they didn't see none of the work that you
blood,
had to
sweat,
do.
and tears.
Yeah, I think too with the virtual, the way the game is going, a lot of people are going to be home for a while. When I say a while, the winter is here, the fall is about to end. I do a virtual comedy show, and Rick, I got to get you on there. I got 2 coming up this month. You let me know.
Yo, kudos to you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of the virtual.
So listen,
comedy.
So
right, but cool. I respect anyone who does it.
Can I give you a gem? All right. So look, I had 2 comedians tell me what you're doing with the virtual comedy. You got to keep right. The reason why you got to keep doing it subconsciously, you don't realize, but if you can make people laugh without seeing them. You can hear them and you can see them. Like Zoom works like this. You'll see the people, you can roast them. It's more conversational. It's not like stand-up. But if you can find your way in virtual,
it's a different art form.
Yeah.
Preparing yourself for television. You're doing it right now. You've made me laugh.
That's true,
without even realizing it, Rick. So what I'm saying is
very true.
Yeah.
Coming into the pandemic, I wasn't a virtual comic. But I have fun being conversational, hosting these shows where I bring 5 comedians on. We do an hour show. Everybody gets 6 to 8 minutes. It's not a drawn out set. You can hear the laughs. You can roast people. It's a new experience that was there, but I didn't know I was good at until I jumped into it. So conversational, I'm gonna hold you to it. You got to do my last one before the month is over in November, just to get your feet wet. You might come out like, yo, I really like this shit, Joe. I really like
I know.
The crowds, I have like 30, 40 people, and they ready to laugh. They at home. And it's like, you can be yourself. You don't got to go up there and do this drawn out production. Be yourself. Talk to them, relate. And I'm telling you, you have the charisma already. So like, it's just adding your content behind that.
Yeah.
Minutes. But you find that like, wait a minute, I might be better at this virtual shit than I'm about to say. Seriously, bro. Think about it. People are home and watching you from the couch. My uncle, he shows up with butt naked, just the neck up. I'm like, dude, put the camera up to your neck. And my aunt, but it's a fun. I make it fun, and it's so comfortable. So I'm gonna get you on. I'm gonna hold you to it because I think you would be great at it because you do the podcast. You already talk to people. You're already talking to people and engage them. Now it's taking what your funny is and marrying them togetber for the virtual. So
no, it'll be like a different experience.
Hey, you little $25 too, little oxtail money.
Hey.
Come on, I did it for y'all.
Do it.
I got you. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get you the info after this show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I like how you put it together and stuff like that. It's definitely true though. I see definitely the points that you was making.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna move forward.
To
We're
the
almost done
last
to our
segment.
last segment. It's called Let's Look Inside, and we have 2
I'll ask
questions
him.
for Let's Look Inside, and she's gonna take it away. And it's like
Hold on,
whatever.
time out. I
Yeah.
gotta ask you. I've been
Yeah.
calling you sis. It's the win the
Oh,
call, but what is your name? What is you are
Alexandra.
Alex? Wait, so my
I
middle
didn't
name
even
is
tell her my name.
Alexander. So look, you're already off.
Alexandra.
Draw.
I'm
Draw.
Alexander. So I already know
Cloud.
I always want to say that one thing I respect about y'all is dope. Y'all doing it together. Y'all doing something y'all both passionately enjoy and you're building. And I think the connections that come, y'all setting it up for a big payday down the road. Continue to do
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
But Alexandra, yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
ready for the
I
question.
mean, it
Thank
took a while
you.
because I was fighting her to be on the screen,
Oh, to
be
be
on
on
the
the screen.
poster,
Yeah, to
to
be on the
to
screen.
interview.
No, the poster I didn't mind.
Yeah.
I was always behind the scenes. And
Yeah.
the first year he took it over. And then I was pregnant, blah, blah, blah. But I'm getting my feet wet more to
I
be
like
a
the
host.
chemistry. I love the chemistry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. I
you.
appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to ask you the first question. It's
Okay.
what do you love about yourself?
Oh, I love one of the biggest attributes about Joseph Alexander Hill, is my will to just want to keep going, and that's push the envelope with work. I'm an educator. I'm a father. I love my grind. I love it. I can't teach it. I mean, it's something I've developed more over time because of the work ethic I put in, double time
Yeah.
behind the scenes, which you don't see. But I love my grind. I love it. I love the fact that I'm trying to really make something happen for my family, for my intermediate family, my outer family, my friends. I love that my grind is respected right now.
Nice. Okay. And the last question is if the average lifespan was 40 years old, how would you live your life differently? I know
The same
everybody's
way. I don't
reaction.
think I would change nothing
Nice.
because I'm 36. That means I would have 4 years left. Let me just
Yeah.
tell you, next 4 years, hopefully Biden's with me. That way I know him. But I think the best thing I can say to anybody, if you only got a certain amount of time, live, laugh, and love. Love others, help others, laugh, because you can only control a certain amount of things. That's why my whole premise around comedy is not giving a fuck. Who the fuck is Joe Hill? The art of not giving a fuck. Because there's an art to only being able to control what you can't control. Because you get so caught up in, oh, this is happening, this is happening. Cool, but this is what I can control. And that sometimes in the past I've gotten that. Oh, I don't like that about your relationships. Or, oh, you don't give a fuck. It's not that I don't give a fuck. I just only focus on what I can control. And if we all did that, shit, we'd probably be
That's
further
true.
off. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
so true.
Yep.
yeah.
This
that
last
last.
segment, still part of it. It's like reflection cards, and on these
Okay.
reflection cards, they're already shuffled, and she's gonna pick one, and there's just 2 questions on there, so we don't
Let's
know
do
what
it.
they are.
I need to reflect, especially because I don't know who's winning right now, and I'm anxious.
Forget about that.
I don't care about the election, but I care about the election.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you. I
get
know
it.
what you mean.
I get it. All right.
Why is it so
Bam.
close? It's like if the dude is not good for the job, why is he even running? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
All right.
It's like when you know somebody to get fired at the job, and like
Yeah.
the boss calls them in and is like, yo, they fire him this time, or he gave him another chance. Did he give him another chance?
Why is he still working
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
is he still working here?
Yeah, that's
Oh
exactly
my
what it is.
The next morning
Yeah.
he comes in. What?
Yeah,
Why you got
Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
had
like-
the cops coming to the job. If that was me, I would have been fired.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Sexual harassing the coworker.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh
That's the
my
same
God.
example.
Y'all crazy.
Okay. First question. What has been your favorite age so far? Why?
Ooh, favorite age 21. Let me tell y'all why. Because for my 21st birthday, I said I'm becoming myself. I got to do something that stands out. Y'all know what I did for my 21st birthday?
But
I rented an 18-seater Hummer and I went to Six Flags.
That's dope.
I
That's
know.
dope.
Six Flags.
Wait, by
Jersey?
yourself?
Jersey
Not by
Six.
myself.
Oh, okay.
Going to New Jackson, New
18
Jersey.
seater.
6 of us in there. My cousin, a girl I liked. I wasn't even dating. I just liked her. I wanted to
Yeah,
flex.
come.
I had my older brother, his boy, and another friend, and my little brother, who was like probably like 7 at the time. But the experience of having a limo pick you up from Harlem, drive you to Six Flags, wait outside, take you to City Island after, drop you off.
Wow. What
I'm,
is
I'm
it?
feeling myself at 21. So
That's
like
pretty
for
dope.
me,
That
that
is
was
dope.
I did it big for my 21st, and I said That's how you got to make yourself happy. If nobody else, you got to make yourself happy. So,
Mm-hmm.
I love that
21
I
was
story.
like
dope.
that. Huh?
21 was dope to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
That was a dumbass idea though. You like 6 people in 18 feet, really?
I thought, yo,
But ho,
I
that makes
thought
a
you were
good
gonna,
story.
I thought
Makes
you
a
were gonna
good-
have double.
Called the Wind
You were
and
gonna,
Cloud
like,
podcast to
you were
get them
gonna
in the
do
limo
that.
with you.
I thought you were gonna fill it up with more people.
No, I had 6 people. Alex, I had 6 people.
I'll do that shit
Hey.
again.
I should.
Oh, yeah. Do
Yeah.
it for 40.
Do it at
Hell
40.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Next, the last question is, what is one thing that is unique about the place you grew up?
I was born and raised in the Bronx. And if you look at who's the biggest name that come out of the Bronx right now, that's Cardi B. One of the things I love about Cardi, she don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about her. We don't care. We go get to it. We know our worth and we know what we're capable of doing. And I think we're loving. We touch the people. So coming from the Bronx, I was born and raised in Jacoby Hospital. I went to Sousa in Baychester. You know, I lived inside Idawal Projects. I'm a Bronx native. Bronx story, this is me. So I love being from the Bronx and putting on for the Bronx because it's one of them boroughs that stands out when you think of New York City. So being from the Bronx is my heritage, and I always do events. That's why I do the Concourse Film Festival, the Concourse Comedy. Concourse being the Grand Concourse, it stands out. And the Bronx is going to be forever tied to me wherever I go around the country. I'm going to be home. That's home.